It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
Hey, folks, I wanted to talk about something that was on my mind. I want to talk about the concept that being comfortable is the death of the constitutional republic. Now, you might be asking how. Well, there's an author that I really love, a theologian that I love. He's since passed on. His name's Francis Schaeffer, and he said that really it's all about the selfish desire of personal peace and affluence, that this is a problem that we have, personal peace and affluence. So when people get comfortable with how things are around them, they pay attention less, they vote less, they're less likely to fight back until things get uncomfortable. What happens in between comfort and discomfort? Well, you have the government. When people don't pay attention to what the government is doing, it will get out of control, and it will grow far beyond the reach of where it was intended to be. And we see that. We're not where we were intended to be, where we were at our founding. I mean, case in point, you have the ruling on the cake, and the baker doesn't have to bake the cake. I mean, is it not obvious that our founding fathers would have agreed with the concept of religious freedom, so you're not forced to participate in religious ceremonies you disagree with? So what about the evidence of this? Well, take about the evidence of people who are comfortable, okay? Donald Trump. Trump is the wake-up call we as a country have been waiting for, the silent majority, if you will. So where have all these people been since Reagan? Well, I mean, Reagan was a conservative president, right? A lot of people said best president in the 20th century, in modern times. Well, the silent majority, we got comfortable. People got comfortable after Reagan. They got okay with how things were until the discomfort of the size and scope of government and the corrupt politicians became so overbearing for them to handle that they had to make a change, because it was obvious that the prospect to the people of this country, the prospect of a Hillary Clinton presidency, was widely believed it was going to make people's lives worse. How does this affect us here? How does this affect us here in the state of Arkansas? Well, we're way too comfortable as a state with the current affairs, the current status quo here in Arkansas. We're way too comfortable with. During the primaries this year, voter turnout was unnervingly low. Outside groups like Conduit News or Patriots of X746, outside of groups like that, you don't really see a whole lot of pushback against the way things are going, the way the government's going here in Arkansas. So how did it become like this? Well, the fault rests squarely on the shoulders of the people. And if that sounds harsh, it's because it's supposed to. Arkansas and the Arkansas and the country as a whole are in a state they are in because we allowed this to happen. And the people aren't alone to blame. I mean, inevitably, it is the politicians that have taken advantage of the lack of public engagement to advance their corrupt policies, and we, the people, are suffering because of it. We elected the politicians in the first place, though. But back up to nationally, in Washington, D.C., we allowed the same people to stay in office for 40 years. These people have crafted policy for 40 years, and they've got a poor track record of keeping the people in mind as they craft that policy. They think the status and they think the elite special interests, they think about those people above all else, and they continue to build themselves up while suffocating the people. Does this happen in Arkansas? Absolutely. Do people pay attention? No, they don't. Happens in Arkansas, but maybe in slightly different ways. We've got term limits here. I mean, they're much larger since the convicted John Woods got his way. But when state legislators get subjected to the term limits, or when the governor deems them worthy, they get a nice state job, a reward for playing ball, for keeping the status quo going. Who will be the next to get a government job as a reward? Well, that's a good question. We should start a pool. In some cases, the politicians decide to create their own schemes, though, and get their colleagues to play along. Jake Files, John Woods, Mike and Neal, Rusty Cranford, Randall Shelton, Orrin Paris, and more built themselves up a nice little fraud scheme, and thankfully they got caught before they could steal any more of our money, the taxpayers' money. The bottom line is this: we as the people must wake up and pay attention, or else we will not recognize this country or this state that we love so much in 20 years. While we wait to see who else will be indicted or who else is going to plead guilty on corruption right here in Arkansas, let's commit ourselves to telling our family and our friends to wake up and pay attention. For Conduit News, I'm Paul Harrell.
Hey, do you like this video? Do you want to get more? Do you want to get them a little early? Then head on over to patreon.com/CNR and give us $5 a month and become part of the Liberty Machine.